My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome to the show. Hello, curious listener, you. Today, we're going to explore contraction in the face of overwhelm, contraction in the face of anxiety, contraction. Why do I want to explore contraction? So that we can actually expand beyond contraction. Here's the thing. When we feel, especially there's overwhelm, but when something's kind of coming at you and you feel like you can't handle it, or you feel like it's bigger than you, what do you innately do? What's kind of your defense mechanism? You get smaller, right? It's almost like the turtle going into the shell, hoping that you can be protected by that outer shell. The crazy thing is, and I know this is the opposite of what you think, is that the more contracted you are, the more intense everything is, and actually the more it can hurt you. Now, can energy hurt you? Well, kinda. When you're in that condensed, suppressed space. And the reason it really popped to talk about this right now is that I know for a lot of people around the world, it is holiday season, and there is a lot of things getting projected. There is expectations getting projected. There's judgment. You're so wrong. You're so right. Just all this stuff being impelled all over the place. And for some of you, you're maybe out in the world more than normal. Maybe you like to kind of hide in your home, your turtle shell, and not go and interact in the world as much. And you're kind of like invited to these events, or you're out shopping, or whatever it is that brought you out into the world. And now you're like so aware of all this stuff. Let's just take a moment right now. We're just acknowledging it. And now I want to show you how when you expand within the intensity, you actually have space with intensity. And it doesn't seem so real or so big or so overwhelming anymore. It's just an acknowledgement of the intensity. Now, what did we just do there? You might have noticed that you relaxed more and felt better, but you don't really know like what just happened. Well, I invited your being to expand with me. If you've never heard of that before, the first time I heard it, I thought it seemed very kind of weird. My brain couldn't grasp what the facilitator was talking about. But we know that we have a body, right? Hopefully, you have a body. And then you have a being. You have a being that occupies the space between the molecules of your body. But your being is actually much, 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 much bigger than your body. Because your being is infinite. So when we kind of try and recoil or retract, often what we're doing is we're taking this huge being, like I'm talking bigger than planet Earth, and you're condensing it and contracting it and jamming it into the space between the molecules of your body. Your body goes, ah! And then we do this as a way of like we think we're going to avoid something that we've decided is painful or uncomfortable. But really what it does is it makes everything more intense. So how do you expand? Well, you already did it with me. I sensed it, so I know you can do it. But let me walk it through with you. So you can kind of get a little bit of a cognitive understanding. And then perhaps if you want to practice this, it starts to become something really quick and easy and kind of natural. I mean, it is actually natural. Babies, young children, they're often at a really expanded space. They expand really easily. Especially if you notice a kid go into like this space of joy, like they like get really big. They expand really quickly and easily. But we learn not to be expanded. We learn it not from like verbal understanding, but we observe the world around us. And most adults, you start around the age of 10, depending on your life, and then teenage years, and then adults, we have different degrees of contraction, and we learn contraction, and we learn that it's an appropriate way to function on this planet. And we almost learn like it as a safety mechanism. What if it actually is the opposite of safety? Because get this, if your zone, so as contracted as you are, that's your zone of awareness, right? So you think of like being the leader of a herd, okay? You're like a herd of like wild horses. And you have to have a zone of awareness in every direction to know if predators are coming. So the more contracted and condensed your zone of awareness is, those predators can get real close before you even know they're there. But if you have a really expanded zone of awareness, well then, you're going to sense them before they could even catch you. So everything that you did to buy that you could handle things more if you shrunk yourself, would you just train and create that and open yourself to the possibility of being expanded this holiday season through all of the insanity, all of the busyness, all of the magic, all of the possibility, to be expanded in all of it. Okay, let's walk through this expansion. So there's a couple different ways to do it. I mean, one is just to ask to expand, and you've already done it. Another way is to kind of get a sense of like your body, okay? And then ask, and you just ask. It's not necessarily something that you can do in physical reality, right? You're just asking for the space of your being to expand in every direction, up, down, left, right, front, back, to expand in every direction 10 feet. 20 feet. 10,000 feet. Every direction, up, down, left, right, front, and back. You might not feel anything. You might not be feeling any sensation. You might not be noticing anything changing. That doesn't mean it's not working. It's just that this is a new thing a new skill. Well, like I said, you already had the skill before, but it's new for you to notice it. Keep expanding. Another 10,000. What if it was like, whatever your metric system is, like miles, kilometers, maybe for you it's universes. in every direction, up, down, left, right, front, and back. As we're doing this together, I'm actually energetically speaking to your being and asking it as well to expand in every direction. And sometimes the body can be brilliant in showing us what's going on or that something is going on, because if you aren't used to sensing energy or engaging with energy in this way, you might be like, is anything happening? I don't know. So notice your body. When I reach a certain space, my body always like takes a big relaxing breath, and then usually like my shoulders relax. I didn't even notice they were tense until like I get to that space and I'm like, oh, yeah, there we go. For some of you, you might actually feel like a little sleepy or dizzy. Dizzy is another one, because you're not used to occupying so much space. It's okay, just be with it, just relax, and the dizziness will kind of ease into being is the best way to describe it. But it's kind of like, it's not that it goes away, but that it stops seeming to be different. And keep expanding every direction, up, down, left, right, front, and back. See? Body was like, oh, we just reached another space. And just relax. Some people like to visualize, so they'll start with like, okay, I'm going to occupy the space of the room I'm in, the building I'm in, the city, the town, for me, that was like a little bit slow. But if that works for you, then do that. It doesn't mean that because it was slow for me, it would be slow for you. It might be the faster way for you. It's just that we're all so different. So for me, when I just go expand out in every direction, I'm already there. But if you really, that visual stimuli like works for you, then picture that until you get out into the stars, into the quiet space of space. Okay, now we're gonna play with this. Are you ready? I want you to bring up something that has been either stressing you out, creating anxiety, or something that you've been like avoiding. You feel like it's too big and overwhelming for you. And I want you to bring it up and notice what happens. Did you get smaller? Did your walls come up? Did your shoulders tighten up? What showed up for you? Or were you maybe you were able to just be in that space and you're like, oh, right here, this thing doesn't even really seem overwhelming anymore. So if you're able to stay out there, that's amazing. And be that expanded with whatever this is. And if you can just be with it, you'll actually alter it. It will change. It will become less intense, less dense. Now, if you found yourself contracting, you found yourself like avoiding wanting to go into that turtle shell, that's okay. Relax and go back into space. Now, this doesn't mean you jump out of your body and your being like goes and it's checked out. Like your body's inside you. Your body, this is your huge infinite being, your little body is inside you. And the thing, the intense, dense thing, is just a speck in front of your body. So little. And you're willing to be bigger than the galaxy. Okay, now bring it up again. And notice again, do you shrink? Maybe you shrunk less. This is okay. This is practice. As we explored this together today, we're practicing a little bit. And we're undoing this kind of reflex, this reflexive reality to contract. Cool, and get bigger and get bigger and get bigger. Every direction, up, down, left, right, front, and back. Be there with it. Hi. Be there with it. Now imagine you could have this space of expansion, like if you practice this for a while, out in the world too, when you're interacting with people, when you're face to face with whatever these contracted things are, these stressful things, just being with it and knowing that you're so much bigger than it. That space, that glorious, beautiful space of you. Keep expanding. There is no limit for you. Keep expanding. And you'll notice that you're capable of being with far more than you thought you could. But in the face of intensity, if you're making yourself smaller than it, and that means contracting to try and hide or avoid it or defend against, then you've made it bigger than you. You've actually given it power over you. But when you expand out, hello, and you become the space that gets to shift and change anything. I hope this was a contribution to you. You can play this. You can have this on low on your phone next time you go shopping. Keep practicing expanding. And eventually it will become what you innately choose without having to think about it. But you might have to practice, which is allowing you to get out of the entrainment of shrinking yourself. Let me know how this goes for you. Yeah, I'd love to hear if this contributed to your holidays, to your day. Expansion in the face of everything. Everything good, everything bad, everything intense, everything joyful. Because you can have joy in the intensity when you're being the space. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the next show. Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. Your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious world?